All right, and we are live. Here we go. So, episode number 2 for Orange Juice Sports Pod. Welcome in. I hope you guys saw the last episode. We talked about March Madness, a little bracketology, and some college basketball. But today we're going to talk about strictly the Super Bowl. 2 days away, big time Super Bowl rematch of 2 years ago with the Eagles and the Chiefs. This one hits home for me as an Eagles fan, but we're going to try to keep it a little bit team here on my side of it for this episode. I think this is a really highly anticipated game. As much as people want to say, "Oh, they're pissed off, it's the Chiefs," they want to say it's cheated, they don't want to see the Eagles, they don't want to see the Chiefs. Just quit whining. It's the 2 best teams in football. They pretty much have been all year. Everyone said the Lions, everyone said the Bills. Screw off. It's always been the Chiefs, it's always been the Eagles. These are the 2 best teams. This is what you want to see in a Super Bowl. You want to see the best quarterback and you want to see the best team. And I think the Eagles are the best team, and I think Mahomes is the best quarterback, and I think Andy Reid's the best coach. So that's a pretty good combo. You got the best coach quarterback duo, and you guys got the best overall team playing against each other in the best game of the year. So I think it's going to be a really good one. Before we get started with the betting lines and whatnot, I want to just jump into some keys for the game. So let's start with the Chiefs, obviously representing the AFC. This is a huge game for them, going for a three-peat. Nobody's ever done it in NFL history, so it'd be pretty huge. But my first key for the Chiefs is their D line needs to get pressure. If they're going to struggle to stop Saquon, which I think they are going to, I don't think you can stop Saquon. You might be able to slow him down for 115, 120 yards, but he's still going to get his. And one of those runs is going to be a 50, 45, 60-yard run. So he's going to get his. So when they are not running the ball, it is so important for them to get to Jalen Hurts and maybe cause a turnover or two, because I think that's the only way that the Chiefs are winning this game is if it's turnover based or it's close late. I think that's the only chance it is. Let's get to their next one. Their corners simply can't give up a big play. Like we saw it against the Commanders, 4th and 5, Jalen steps back on a play action and just drops it in the bucket to AJ. That can't happen. And was it bad coverage? No. But it was a perfect throw. You just cannot get beat deep by AJ, Smitty, Dallas Goddard, even. It just cannot happen. The Eagles can put up points quickly. We saw it with 55 in the NFC Championship. They are going to be able to score if you give them opportunities. I think Jalen's coming into this game with a bit more of a chip on his shoulder than he did last time around, which is concerning if you are a Chiefs defensive player, because he's got the weapons to exploit them. That being said, this is one of the best secondaries in football, so they're going to be able to hold their own. But it's just you got to bend and not break. You can't give up that big play when it's 3rd and 5 or it's 4th and 1 and they're fake that whatever. They fake a run and they bang, hit you deep. That's when you're in trouble. So I think that is one of the most important keys of this game. Another key, this is something that kind of bit the Eagles in the ass last time, is special teams. It's a very underrated aspect of the game, but it always comes into play. Jake Elliott missed a field goal. That's huge. Harrison Bucker, he ain't gonna miss a field goal. That dude's nails in the playoffs. If you get a big punt return like they did 2 years ago, these are things that can change a game completely. Block a punt, big tackle on Cooper DeJean returning something, make him fumble, whatever it may be. I think that is an area where the Chiefs have a pretty big advantage. Eagles have been a little spotty in special teams this year, missing a lot of field goals. DeJean's fumbled a couple punt returns where he's just taking his eye off the ball. He's recovered them, but he's lost a couple. And this is a big spot for a rookie to be back there returning punts. So I think that is going to be a spot where the Eagles need to be really locked in, but I think the Chiefs can really gain some momentum points there from the special teams game. My last key for the Chiefs, just be in it late. I think this game can go one of 2 ways. I think the Eagles can win it by double digits, 10 points, whatever it may be, 2 possessions, or the Chiefs can win it late. If they have the ball with 2 minutes left and it's a 1 possession game, they're going to win the game. Mahomes just does not miss in late game situations. I think he's something like 7 for 7 in the playoffs with the ball down 1 possession, less than 7 points with 2 minutes left, or something crazy like that. He just doesn't miss. He's undefeated in those situations. And it's not that I don't trust the Eagles to get stops there, but it's just he's so damn good. They seem to always get those 50-50 calls at the end. And then Vic Fangio, throughout this year, he's been so good in the first, whatever, 45 minutes of a game. But once he has a lead, he starts to play that prevent defense. He has his guys drop back a little bit, and they just start dinking and dinking and picking us apart. And that could be really worrisome for Eagles fans. If you're an Eagles fan, you want to have that lead be a little bit more sturdy and have the ball late, because if it's close, Mahomes is just going to walk down the field and end that game like he did last time around. So that's a little concerning. All right, now into the Eagles. The first key I have just like the last few games, get Saquon the ball early. Do not try to get cute and throw a deep ball early. Get it to Saquon. He's your bell cow. Get him to work because every single time he gets the ball, that's just going to open up everything. Even if it's a 2-yard run or a 3-yard run, whatever it may be, those are just body blows to that Chiefs D line. And eventually they're going to break and they're going to make a mistake and he's going to go for 65, 70 yards. Or they're going to get in there and bang, play action, hit it over the top. There's a lot of ways you can really hurt this Chiefs defense if you just commit to what you are doing and what you have done well all season. And that's run the football and then hit them with the play action. Jalen's going to hit throws if he gets the opportunity to hit guys open. But the only way you're getting guys open is if you open up that pass game with the run game. So I think that is the main key for the Eagles is you got to give the ball to Saquon early. That first possession, we've seen it in times this year that Kellen Moore just he tries to get cute a little bit. He'll throw it 3 times in a row and it's gets all this motion and all this and that. You got to just keep it simple at sometimes and give it to Saquon. He gets 2 yards, give it to him again. Then you hit your play action. You got to get him going early. Second one is containing Patrick Mahomes scrambling. He is probably the hardest player in the entire NFL, running back, wide receiver, quarterback to defend in space. And part of that is because if he slides and you hit him late, you're screwed. It's an extra 15 yards, complete momentum shifter. He knows when to run. He doesn't do it often, but when he does, it is always effective. And he always knows how to do that little flail of his head, or he throws his hand up like he got hit. He's going to do whatever he can. The guy is a straight up winner. Doesn't matter if it's ugly or if it's dirty, whatever it is, he's going to get it done. So you got to make sure he is not getting out of the pocket often. It's very difficult to do. But when you got guys like Jalen Carter, you got Milton Williams in the middle, you got Jordan Davis, you got Nolan Smith coming off the edge, you got guys to go get him. And it's important to rattle him early, hit him early, make him feel like, shit, I don't want to scramble. I don't want CJ Gardner-Johnson coming in and taking my head off. You got to make sure he is not getting out of the pocket and going for one of his 25 plus 15-yard penalty scampers in the middle of the field. Just can't happen. Another thing I would say is just you got to keep the play calling creative while staying on schedule. So we said earlier that you got to get Saquon going early. That is huge. But if you are not getting your guys open, like we saw Smitty with a little pop pass last week, we saw Dallas Goedert coming to jet sweep. Just keep things fresh. Because if you're just doing 4 comeback routes, like we've seen at times, 4 comeback routes, run it up the middle, they're going to just get lazy, and the defense is going to be able to stick on that. Keep your guys engaged in this game. Get motion going. Get Saquon going on the outside. Don't just run it right up the middle where Chris Jones is waiting for him. Give him some space to work. Get him the ball in the pass game. Get Devontae Smith on a slant. Get A.J. Brown early touches just to get him involved in the game. There's so many ways to just keep it creative. And I think we saw Kellen Moore at his best against the Commanders last week, 2 weeks ago at this point. He was dialed in. He was calling plays that we kind of see from that Boise State offense he played in college. He was getting nifty out there. He was getting creative. And that's really important for the Eagles because sometimes this season we've seen them get a little bit dry, a little bit stagnant on offense, where you're seeing very just basic route concepts that just defenses like the Chiefs are going to be able to hone in on. And staying on schedule. You have 4 downs if you're the Eagles. Tush push is going to work. You hate it, you love it, whatever. It's going to work. If you're inside 1.5 yards, that's free first down for the Eagles. So it's staying on schedule. If it's first down, you get 3 yards, that's good. That's a profit. Take it and keep moving forward. You can't try to get cute, like I said, but that's the downside of being too creative with your play calling. You got to find that kind of balance where you're being creative, but you're also being just simple and smart. So staying on schedule is a huge one. And then my last one is just closing. I have said it before. I really do think the Eagles have an opportunity. I'm not going to say they're going to, but there's no reason why they should not have a lead late. But the problem is we saw it against the Rams. They're up 14 or 12 points, whatever it was, 12 points with 6 minutes left. Rams go down, score. Eagles get the ball back with like 3 minutes left. They go 3 now because they're just doing some bullshit on offense. And then here come the Rams with the ball again. And this prevent defense that Fangio drops into, it's just boom, all across the middle, sideline, across the middle, sideline, and just works that defense because they're playing off. They're playing 10 yards off the ball. It's zone, just off everything in the middle, whatever you want. So it's just you got to be able to close. You can't get to just, hey, here's 5 free yards. Don't hurt us deep. If you are playing against Mahomes late, I would rather you give up a big deep ball to give up the lead late and put the ball back in our hands than just let him chip us to death for 2 straight minutes, 3 straight minutes, and hit a game-winning field goal at the end, or score a touchdown with 17 seconds left. Do not play that defense. Just close the game. If you get the ball late, run the offense the way you did the whole game. There's no reason to just try to play. Here you go. Here's 2 yards. Fuck that. Put the game to sleep. Put them to sleep. All right. So those are my final keys. Closing is huge for the Eagles. It's been a problem at times in the last couple of years. You got to be able to close. Next up, I'm going to talk about a couple of just like major talking points. And the first one is like, who's this game most important for? Who's this game most valuable for out of anybody? So you got Mahomes. He's going for a three-peat. Nobody's ever done it in the history of the NFL. This would be what? His fourth Super Bowl, fourth Super Bowl. Andy Reid. He's going to fight for a chance at his fourth Super Bowl, looking like, hey, I just beat what everyone said was the best team in the NFL. Just beat them twice in 3 years in a Super Bowl. Put me into that GOAT conversation. Obviously, I don't think he's there yet, but he's got the resume building right now. All right. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has been hated on by me included. I've been very critical of Jalen Hurts, and I am open about that. But he just wins. The guy wins. If he wins a Super Bowl, how do you not put him in a conversation with guys like Joe Burrow, with guys like Josh Allen, with guys like Lamar Jackson? Congrats, they have a little MVP award. But guess who's got a Super Bowl if he wins? Jalen Hurts. And you can cry and complain. He's got this guy. He's a system quarterback. He's got 7 all Pro Bowlers. Whatever. All those guys have good weapons. Jalen Hurts has had, 12 different offensive coordinators in his football career. High school, college, NFL. Like, he's never had a repeat guy. Like, that is not easy to do as a quarterback. And to just we're constantly hear this, like, nagging and, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Fuck off. He wins football games, and he's in his second Super Bowl in 3 years. So I think this is a huge one for him. Another one, Saquon. Saquon Barkley, you win a Super Bowl on the back, or if your team wins a Super Bowl on the back of you're like the greatest running back of all time, or single season running back of all time. He's pretty much would have broke that record. We all know he would have broke Eric Dickerson's record if he played that 17th game. He didn't play. All right. He has been nails in the playoffs. He's probably top 3 right now in playoff yards for a single season playoff run. You win a Super Bowl on top of all that? Jesus Lord, like that's never been seen before. Like, the only other player I think has done this is Terrell Davis, right? Won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. But other than that, nobody's done something like this. And he's just doing it all himself. He's making 70-yard run like it's nothing. And he's breaking 6 tackles on the way, right? So this is a huge spot for Saquon too. Another person I think it's important for is Nick Sirianni. If he loses this game, they're gonna kill him on the media. They're gonna be like, "Oh, this is Sirianni's fault. Should the Eagles consider getting rid of?" No, the dude just wins. He's like Jalen. They're like the same fucking person. They win football games, and when they get in these big spots, they were there. They played great last time around. Just didn't line up. So I think this is huge for both of them. So it's obviously, like, you can say just quarterback, coach, and then arguably the best player in the NFL in Saquon. But like, those are the guys who I'm really thinking of, like, legacy wise after this game. It's huge. It is absolutely huge. Another thing I want to talk about is, who do you think is set up best after this game? Obviously, the Chiefs. You're sticking with Mahomes. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. That dude's going to be here forever. Andy Reid just said he's coming back next year. You still got good players on defense, young players on defense. Chris Jones probably on his way out. Travis Kelce's probably on his way out. And then you got this Eagles team. You lose this game, like, it's like taking your soul. But if you win it, you're set up with contract extensions on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Saquon's locked up for a few years. Jalen Hurts is locked up for a few years. This O-line is pretty much locked up for a few years. A lot of young players on defense. If you win, it seems like this team has a chance to do what the Chiefs have done and build a dynasty. But if you lose, just that feeling of like, can we do this, is going to set in. So I think this is an interesting thing to think about, because if you're Patrick Mahomes, you lose this game, he's won 3 others. He knows he'll be back. If you piss off Patrick Mahomes, he's probably going to be back 3 more times, right? But if you lose this game as the Eagles to the same team, and if, God forbid, you lose it close, like on another field goal like they did last time, I mean, I don't know how you recover from it, right? That's when A.J. Brown says, hey, Howie, I want to get traded, or people are calling for Jalen to be benched or whatever. Like, it just, kind of sours the entire season if you can't finish the job here. Whereas I think there's a lot less of a drop off if the Chiefs were to lose it. Obviously, I think the Eagles have much more of a base for the future with this defense, and their skill position players are relatively young. But man, like it is would be soul crushing if they couldn't get it done. Um, so I think you could go on either side of the coin, but just something interesting to think about is like who is kind of primed to be able to recover from a loss and build on a win. Um, it's definitely something to think about. All right, so let's get into some betting lines for this game. I think we've talked about pretty much everything else. I'm going to give you my pick, my score prediction as well when we're getting towards the end of this. All right, let's go with some player props to start. I'm going to start with some touchdown scores. Some guys I will be taking to score touchdowns. I will be taking Xavier Worthy. Not first time, but he will be scoring a touchdown in this game. I think the Chiefs are going to make it a huge focal point to get him the ball in space and get him the ball in the red zone. He is going to be getting those little pop passes and those jet sweeps and hitting those crossers all day long. I think Jalen Hurts at minus 120 is unbelievable value. They're going to get within the 5 yard line, 2 yard line, and he's going to get that tush push or he's going to be able to scramble in at some point. Another guy I like is I think DeVonta Smith. He has had really good games against Steve Spagnuolo in his career. I think this is a great spot. Plus 265 is unbelievable value. He's going to have an advantage over anybody who's defending him. He's just so much faster, and most of the time they're going to have the number 2 on him. So I like Smitty there in that spot. So I got Jalen Hurts, I like Xavier Worthy, and I like DeVonta Smith to score touchdowns. Let's look at some passing props here. All right. So we got passing yards, the over-unders. There it is. Mahomes line set at 251.5. Jalen Hurts line is set at 213.5. I honestly think this game is going to be a lot lower scoring than most think. I'm going to say under on Patrick Mahomes, 251.5. And I'm going to say over on Jalen Hurts, 213.5, but very close. I see Jalen Hurts throwing for like 220 in this game, 230. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be around the same number. I don't think either quarterback is hitting 250 in this game. I don't think it's going to be that style of football game. So I'm going over on Jalen Hurts, 213, and under on Patrick Mahomes, 251. All right, let me get that down. Let's talk about some receiving props. All right, a very popular one I've been seeing is Dallas Goedert. A lot of people have been taking Dallas Goedert over 52.5 yards, which is kind of what worries me. Like every single Twitter account or TikTok post has been, oh, Dallas Goedert, he's a lock, which scares me off a little bit. I think he's going to have a great game, but what if he doesn't have that big 20-yard catch and he just has 5 catches that are like an average of 7 yards and he goes for like 35, 40, right? So I'm going to stay away from there. I'm not going to take an under. I'm going to take under on Travis Kelce, 62.5. I think these Eagles linebackers are very good. I don't think he's going to get a lot of openings, especially with these safeties as well. If you have a Reed Blankenship on him, I'm not worried. Reed Blankenship can cover very, very well. CJ is going to want to take his head off if he catches the ball across the middle. So I don't like that spot for him. What I do like is DeAndre Hopkins over 11.5. DeAndre Hopkins is one of the greatest wide receivers of like this generation, and he's playing in the biggest game of his life. He's going to find himself open sometimes. And I think Mahomes is going to make it an important piece to get him the ball. DeAndre Hopkins is as good as you can get, jump ball receiver, especially with these talented corners. You got to go after somebody who you can trust to just go get a ball sometimes. So I like DeAndre Hopkins over 11.5. Like I said earlier, DeVonta Smith, big time player. He plays big in big games. He's done it against Spagnuolo. 51.5 is nothing. He's going for 75 plus easily. So I got Smith over, Kelce under, and then I got DeAndre Hopkins over as well. I think Juju Smith is also going to go over just to piss me off because I hate him. So we're going to go Juju over 16.5. We're going to go Kelce under 62.5. We're going to go Smitty over 51.5. And we're going to go D-Hop over 11.5. All right. Let's get into our rushing props here. Not going to do a ton of these, but we'll do a few. All right. Saquon, 112.5. Smash it. That's a joke. It's a joke. Everyone's going to be on it, but it doesn't matter. It's Saquon. 112.5. They're going to be up late. He's going to have to run the ball to close the game out, and hopefully he's able to do that. But I'm going to go over to 112.5. I think he hits that pretty comfortably in the 130 range. Another guy I'm going to go with, I'm going Mahomes. I think Mahomes over 29.5 is free as can be. When he does scramble, guys are afraid to hit him. You don't want to hit him and add 15 more yards. Just run him out of bounds. He's going to be able to pick up some cheap yards late, or just on big 3rd and 1, 3rd and 5, where he's going to stay in tiptoe on that sideline where guys don't want to hit him and pick up that late hit flag. I think he's gonna run for some yards. I also like Xavier Worthy over 6.5. I said earlier, I really think they're going to try to get him involved in this offense in a numerous amount of ways. They're going to be jet sweeps, those pop passes. They're going to throw it to him behind the line, whatever it can be, just to get him going in space. He's just such a dynamic player, and I think 6.5 is a very low line. So we're going to go over on Xavier Worthy's rushing. All right. And then let's finish this off with our game lines. The Eagles, +1.5. The line shifted a little bit. They opened, what was it, like +150, +130. The lines moved towards them, so money's being put on the Eagles. I think if you are going to bet on the Eagles, I bet on them now, because I think today is the last day you're going to be able to get them at +100. If you're going to bet on the Chiefs, I would wait until Super Bowl Sunday, because that line is going to be a pick 'em. I can almost guarantee you that line is going to be a pick 'em. Another thing I think is interesting is that over 48.5, the over under 48.5. I might be the only person to tell you this, but I think this game is going under. I think it's going to be kind of a rock fight. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be tough because both teams want this one so damn bad. The Eagles desperately need it. The Chiefs want to be in the history books and win 3 in a row and be the first team to do that. So I'm going under that 48.5 at -110. So if you've been keeping track of our picks, I have the under 48.5 at -110. We have Jalen Hurts over passing yards, 213. Pat Mahomes under 251. We have Travis Kelce under 62.5. We have Smitty over 51.5. We have Juju over 16.5 receiving, D-Hop over 11.5 receiving. We also have Mahomes over on rushing, Saquon over on rushing, and Xavier Worthy over on rushing. Now let's give my final score prediction. I'm going to give you the full script of this game. I think the Eagles score early, and then I think it'll be like they'll score first possession, 7-0. Chiefs come down, kick a field goal, 7-3, and then we don't see much scoring for a little bit. Eagles give up a touchdown midway through the second quarter. We got 10-7 ball game. Eagles score before the half. We got 14-10, right? So we're at 28 or 24 at halftime, 14-10. The Birds lead. We're looking right at that over-under line, right? And this is where I think the game gets a little interesting. I think that third quarter is where this game is won, right? Eagles are going to score. Okay. So we got 21-10. The Eagles are up 21-10. They're feeling comfortable, right? Chiefs score late in the quarter. They score late in the quarter, make it 21-17. All right. So that gets us to 38. Fourth quarter starts. The Eagles get the ball. All right. They get the ball, let's say around 8-9 minutes left in the game. And I think they run the hell out of the ball. And they run the hell out of the ball and they go down and they punch it in. They punch it in. They go up 28-17. And that's all she wrote. Chiefs run out of time. They get the ball back with 4 minutes or so. They can do whatever the hell they want. They won't get in the end zone again. 28-17 is my final score. I got that being, what is that, 45 total points, right under our line. Eagles are your Super Bowl champions. Take a money line, take a -1.5, take a -10.5, whatever the hell you want. They're winning this game by double digits, or they're losing it by 3 on a game-winning field goal. I guarantee you that, right? So that is pretty much all I got for this episode. I got Eagles winning this game. I got Jalen Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP. I think he's going to run for a touchdown. I think he's going to throw for a couple. He's not going to throw for a ton of yards, but it's going to be one of those look at me now moments, him sitting up on that podium. So Jalen Hurts and the Eagles win the Super Bowl 28-17. Book it. I'll be recording after they get it done. Signing off. See you next time.